Factorising quadratics. So the first two questions, these are intermediate tier GCSE standard. What we have to do is we have to write these as a pair of brackets. So at the beginning of each bracket, we have x and x, and we are looking for two numbers that link to the -8. They have to multiply to make the end number, and the same two numbers have to add to give us +2. So if we're looking for numbers that multiply to give -8, they've got to be different signs, such as -1 times 8, or 1 times -8, or -2 times 4, or 2 times -4. Now the pair out of these four that add to give you +2, it is the third pair. So the answer would be x minus 2, x plus 4. In the second question, we're looking for a pair of numbers that multiply to give us -42, and a pair of numbers that add up to give us -1. Now the trick here is when they're adding to give -1, we basically are looking for numbers that are really close together. In fact, they're going to be one apart. So it's either going to be -6 times 7 or 6 times -7. So which of those two pairs are going to add up to give us -1? It is the second one, which is +6 and -7. The third question here, now this is much more a higher tier standard question. So what we would have to do is, first of all, take the first and third term and multiply those numbers together. So 15 times 14, that is going to give us 210. So what we are looking for is a pair of numbers which multiply to make 210, but add to give 31 in the middle. And the answer for that pair of numbers is 21 and 10. So our first job is to rewrite the quadratic using that pair of numbers. So it's +21x plus 10x plus 14, and there we are. We've rewritten the quadratic. Now what we're going to do is we're going to factorize this in two halves. Now with the first half, what we have as a common factor is we have 3 and we have x. Now if we divide everything in those first two terms by 3x, what multiplies by 3 to give us 15? Oh, it's 5. And we also need an x to give us x squared. So 3x times what gives us 21x? It's +7. The second part of this, if we divide both those by the highest common factor, the highest common factor of 10 and 14 is 2. So we'll take a 2 in front of a bracket. And when we divide both those terms by 2, what we are left with is 5x plus 7. Now, the 5x plus 7 is obviously going to be one of our brackets, and the numbers in front of each of those brackets, the 3x and the 2, that makes the other bracket. So we have 3x plus 2, 5x plus 7. And there's our quadratic factorized. Now, a couple to look out for are these special ones. These are the difference of two squares. And when we factorize these two, what we have to do is do the square root of each individual term. So 16x squared at the beginning, the square root of that is 4x. So both of these begin with 4x, 4x. And the square root of 1 is 1. And what we have to do to create -1 when we expand these two brackets, we have to have different signs. So it's 4x plus 1, 4x minus 1. If we repeat this with the second quadratic, the square root of 4x squared is 2x. So each bracket begins with 2x. And the square root of 1600 is 40. So it's 2x add 40 and 2x minus 40.